Real Talk.
Hey, I'm Gina Lou, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hey, what's up? It's Logan Browning, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Real Talk.
Hi, this is Alana De La Garza, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, I'm Diane Franklin from Better Off Dead and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. You're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, this is Monique Dupree, and you are watching Real Talk with the Director on Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, I'm Stormy Maya, and you are listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
This is Vicky Judy. Orange is the new black, and I'm here with Real Talk.
Yo, what up? This is Jay Ellis, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio. Keep it locked.
Hi, I'm Frida Parks, and you're listening to Real Talk Radio with the Director. Hey, I'm Issa Rae, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And nothing less. What's going on? Welcome to another edition of Real Talk, the Director and the Jedi Council. I'm the Director. Be with you for the next 120 minutes or so. Real Talk is brought to you each and every Monday by B2S Media. We broadcast live via the World Wide Web on the IE Network on YouTube. We also, the IE Network and Real Talk on the social network, Facebook, soon to be Meta. And of course, Twitter. We have some other ones too, but those are the main ones. So, welcome back, another Monday. Happy Monday, everyone. The 8th of November. And yeah, busy week coming up. We got some movie stuff, more movies coming up soon. We just had, Eternals doing their thing, performing this weekend. Let's see, I have their box office numbers over the last weekend, the 5th through the 7th. Eternals pulled in 71 million. Well, to date, they pulled in 71 million and some change. Domestic 71. Yeah, and we have 161 million worldwide. Not bad for a release date of November 5th. And there you go. So, despite of all of the bad, whatever you want to call it, reviews, it still was able to do a little something. Let me see here. It's so weird. I'm listening. Let me listen here. Yeah. I don't hear any of the bad sound there, Ralph. I don't know if it's on my end or your end. Chat room out there, how am I sounding? Let me know. So, hope if there's any technicals, we can get to the bottom of that nice and early. So anyway, the Eternals did their thing over the weekend. Let's see what else. So this weekend, Eternals pulled in, of course, the 71.3 million. Thank you, KB. Shout out to KB. What's up, my brother? Dune, 7.8 million. No Time to Die, that's the James Bond movie, 6 million. And these films have been out and they're still pulling in a few bucks. You see people starting to go back to the movies a little more. Obviously, this has been, a good run for Eternals for their first weekend, pulling in that 71 million domestic, 90 million international. And all of this is in spite of, despite the whole bad stuff that they had going on. Not stuff, but a couple of bad reviews. Quite a few, actually. Which I didn't think was as bad, I didn't think it was as bad as some of these reviewers have. I wouldn't have reviewed it like that. It did have some typical storyline. It wasn't the greatest storyline. It was kind of typical. Some of the characters. But we'll talk about it in a little bit. So there you have it. That's going on. So today, basically, we want to make sure we get into also over the weekend, or last week, yeah, last week or the weekend, the movie, the Netflix film, The Harder They Fall, came out. It's number one on Netflix as of right now, and um, so mixed reviews about that. Not from the critics. Critics, I've been seeing some pretty positive reviews, but more so from the fans, particularly fans of color. We'll go from that. This is a film that's black produced, directed, written, and pretty much an all black cast, ensemble cast on top of that. As we know, stars Idris Elba, Lakeith Stanfield, Jonathan Majors, freaking Regina King. I mean, these are all big time actors that are real hot right now. You got Majors and you got King. Both of them were the stars of some pretty good HBO shows, series that both of them and wounded up getting, like, none of them got wins, but they got like uh, Emmy nominations and stuff like that. So when I'm talking about Regina King with, of course, Watchmen, and Majors with Lovecraft Country. So they're hot right now. They're red hot. Regina King, of course, just a few years ago, came off of that whole Oscar acclaimed film, the Beale Street. I think that was Beale Street. And so I mean, they're smoking. Of course, Idris Elba is Idris Elba, right? I mean, he is another one out there. Lakeith Stanfield just came off of the acclaimed film that was also Oscar nominated, along with him, the Judas and the Black Messiah. So you got a bunch of people in here that are just red hot. They wanted to go all out. Um, and I'm laughing because, considering all of the flack that it's been catching, that I really think, in my opinion, is a little unwarranted. But we'll break down a little bit more of why I feel that way, and why what I mean by saying in court, the flack that it's been catching. Now the film, you can go ahead, you can see it on Netflix. It's a good film. It was written and directed by James Samuel, who also he's got a couple. He's got another. He has another Western under his belt as a director. He hasn't directed much stuff. He's kind of a new director, new filmmaker altogether, I believe. But there's a film that he did called "They Die by Dawn," and that was back in like 2013. And I saw this film. I didn't see it in 2013. I saw it. I don't know how long ago it was. But I remember, Erica Badu was in it. I didn't realize this was the same guy at first. Then when I saw his name, I'm like, why does that sound? Because his name is spelled very, like different, right? It's I believe it's pronounced James, but it's spelled Jeymes. I'm not sure if it's pronounced James, but that's what I thought. But anyway, Mr. Samuel, he was he did that. So I'm like, okay, that dude is pretty decent with westerns. So this should be pretty cool. Not the I was gonna watch it anyway, because you think about who's in it, you think about who's behind it. Now let's talk Jay-Z. Jay-Z is not one to he was it was more like with them two, meaning him and Dame Dash. Dame Dash was the one that was more into the film stuff, and Jay was never really that into it. So Jay Z is not the dude to get involved with something unless he know he's gonna do it really big, right? So when I heard that he was kind of behind this, and I was like, Jay Z's producing this? Oh, okay. When he puts his name, money, or whatever, because he is an executive producer, um, when he puts his name on something, he knows or he wants it to be big, right? So I was like, okay, right. Then you have the star-studded cast, of course, and a whole bunch of other people popped up in that movie too. It was a whole lot of people, like recognizable faces in the film. Like DeWanda Wise made a quick appearance in the film. I was like, oh, I didn't expect to see her in the beginning of the film. Um, there's a lot of people in here that you're like, oh, wait a minute, I know this person, and they've made some, also. So you see who's behind it, you see who's in front of the camera. So then you go to who's behind the camera. So most people probably may not have heard of James Samuel. Like I said, I only heard of him from that other movie, but he did a pretty good job, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. Also, this week we had what else we had? Said Eternals. Oh, once again, there's been some more news on the front of the Rust shooting, accidental shooting on the set of the film Rust, starring Alec Baldwin. And really, we're not gonna stay too long on that topic because we did talk about it last week and we talked about set safety, but this is something we can always talk about every week if we have to, until we're going to be following. This is a developing story we'll be following as it goes along. So, but do know the last thing that I saw was other than Alec Baldwin urging uh, films production companies to employ police on set, but that's one of the latest things I heard. But before that, they talked about the uh, some of the. My question is, are the producers res, not gonna say responsible, but should they be held liable? There was the last thing I saw, CNN had a gentleman on who was part of the crew. He was one of the crew members that walked off set, due to the constant breach in protocol and safety. So the gentleman who CNN had him on, and he walked off set. So now the producers seem to be trying to discredit this gentleman, and I have no idea how they really plan on doing that, because it's just like don't make sense. They're saying stuff like, well, he's trying to do things before, he's trying to do things for personal gain. They're using words like personal gain and things like this. And this man he has no dog in this fight, period. He wasn't even there when it happened, but I guess for him, thank goodness he wasn't there, because he was had made his decision, and I'm not gonna say he was smart enough. Yeah, he was smart enough to find, to say, I'm gonna, follow protocols, and they're not following protocols. I'm out of here. So he left. But then, he's been kind of been villainized by the he's kind of been villainized by the producers because I believe the producers are, obviously they trying to cover their butts. So they want to make sure that, they can try to discredit this guy as much as they can by saying, this guy here is using this opportunity for personal gain. And it's just pretty sickening, actually. Not a good look. And someone said they believe the ball was dropped all the way around. Right. Chocolate Padilla, how you doing? What up, Ace? She believes the ball was dropped all the way around. I agree with you, Ace. I believe the ball was dropped all the way around as well. But we'll get to that. So hold on to your seats. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll begin with the Rust set since I was talking about it. And of course, I got to bring in part of my Jedi Council. Ralph, you're in the building, sir. Welcome back.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hey, Ralph, how you doing, man?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm okay. How are you?
Yeah. Hey, man, it's all good. So I'm beginning with the Rust situation since I was talking about it already. The thing is, bro. So like I said, with this latest story with the gentleman, I'm not even going to mention his name because he's not really involved, but he may be called as a witness because he's one of the guys who left. He's one of the crew members that left the day before because of the bad following of protocol for safety. He left. So CNN decided to get him on because the producers were making comments saying that, okay, so he was asked a question of why he left, and he answered it. He said because the producers were not following safety protocols, which is laid out in handouts, and it's in writing, right? That what you're supposed to do. And the conversation was sparked from them asking because the headline was that the armorer who was in charge, right? That's what was her name? Hannah something. She was. They were saying that she was. I think the headline went something like, she didn't think that there was live rounds in the box. There was supposed to be a dummy round box. So she believed that, so what happened was one of the producers raised the question, well, maybe it was sabotage. Now they let me go on record and make sure everyone understands. I'm saying that word doesn't mean I believe it, but people they're saying that it's sabotage, and they have no proof to that fact. As we see, Ralph is having a little technical difficulty over there. It's all good. We'll get him back in. But so continuing what I was saying, they had they're mentioning the word sabotage, and no sabotage. There's no proof. They mentioned the word sabotage, but there's no proof that there was any sabotage. They just threw that out there. Probably as a tactic. This is the lawyers for the producers, I think. Probably as a tactic, obviously, to kind of because they only have to prove reasonable doubt, right? If it ever goes that far. So they're trying to already put doubt in the minds of people that maybe, just maybe, this was a sabotage deal. And so CNN asked the gentleman who was a camera operator, one of the chief camera operators for the film before he left. And they asked him, does he think that is possible? So he asked if they think that's possible. And his answer, which I'm so proud of him, his answer was, no, I don't think that's possible. And he said, I'll tell you why. And this is something that, unless you're in the filmmaker business, which we all are, myself, Kevin, you, Ralph, more 90% of the time when you're making a film, you're on a set with friends. You're on a set with people you know that you've worked with before numerous times. Now, occasionally you'll have some new people, some new crew. Not always the cast you worked with, but the crew. We're talking about crew. The crew is normally friends, colleagues, classmates, people that graduated school together. Uh, so his whole point was there's no reason for anybody on the crew to sabotage anything. The fact of the matter is, just to give y'all a visual, the armorer, Miss Hannah, whatever her last name is, she when you're doing a scene like this, it's usually whoever's the gun handler, like the armorer, would check the gun, would hand the gun to the director to check it, would also hand the gun to the assistant director, right? So it usually goes through two or three people's hands. They kind of check it for safety, right? But she is the person who's hired to make sure the gun is cold, so that they call it. A cold gun means it's not loaded with live rounds. So allegedly they were doing a rehearsal. This wasn't even the scene they were shooting. This was a rehearsal. When the accident happened, it was during a rehearsal, so there wasn't even supposed to be rounds in the gun if it's a rehearsal. Because everyone knows, or most people know, when you shoot a scene that's going to involve any sort of danger, whether it's gunfire, whether it's fire, whether it's an explosion, you don't explode it every time. You rehearse it, and then when you actually are rolling camera, then you do the gunshot, the explosion, the whatever. So from what I understand, what's reported, the director and the DP, Miss Hutchins, was setting up camera to see the angle. This was a rehearsal. The gun was handed to Alec Baldwin from the assistant director. The assistant director said to Alec Baldwin, "It's a cold gun," which means there's no live rounds. The director and DP noticed a shadow in the shot, so they repositioned the camera. At that point, they asked Alec to go through his progression for rehearsal. Alec Baldwin then took the gun and pointed the gun, rehearsal, towards the camera. Obviously, the director and the DP are behind the camera. So the gun goes off, hits the director and hits the DP and the director standing right behind her. DP got hit in the chest. The director gets struck in the shoulder. So once again, that's kind of like the recap. Now, the thing is this. When they asked the gentleman who left the set, he said, once again, he don't think it was a sabotage deal, because when it comes to a crew, Why would they have a reason to do that? Most of the time, and I agree with him here because since I've been making films, with the exception of my very first film that I've ever made called Rebel, because I was pretty much the whole crew. I was pretty much the whole crew. I did everything. I did the lighting, I did the camera, I did cinematography, craft services, everything. But anyway, other than that, since I've been making films, I've always worked with at least 2 to 3 people that I worked with in a previous film. And I brought on people. Me and Kevin have done numerous films together. I brought Kevin on to the first feature film we ever did called The Trade Off. From that point on, I used Kevin on other projects. And the same deal with at the time, my director of photography, Chuck Gomez. Shout out to Chuck. I used Chuck Gomez after that almost on everything until I started working with Devin Smith, aka Trouble, who has been on the show before. But these were the people I worked. So now everything I work with, I bring Trouble in on. It's a filmmaking. What makes filmmaking fun is because it's usually a group of friends or a group of colleagues, and we have fun doing it, right? Sometimes even family. So that's why he don't believe there was no sabotage. The producers are throwing that word out there to cast doubt in the minds of the people. They have no evidence of this, which means, doesn't mean it's impossible. But you got to think about this. So the armorer is saying a box of blanks, right? A box of blanks, allegedly. She took the blanks out of it and loaded the gun with the box of blanks, allegedly. So, with that being said, somehow, magically, the one bullet, live bullet, found its way into a box of blanks. Found its way. So, and I'm speaking slowly because I want people to understand this process. That's why I'm speaking slowly. It found its way into the box of blanks. One live bullet. If you look at it from that standpoint, you might say that sounds fishy. It could be a setup. That's exactly what the producers want you to think because they want to cast that doubt if in fact it does go to like a trial or something like that when it comes to lawsuits, whatever the case may be. And for them to throw this gentleman who wasn't even there under the bus because he stated the truth. He said there are they said, why did you leave the set? He said, because there's safety protocols that the producers were cutting corners on. They missed a lot of meetings for safety meetings that they didn't do. They were bringing in people, inexperienced people, department heads at certain critical, basically meaning the armorer. She was inexperienced. This was only her second film that she's ever was a department head on. And he said bringing other people in. He used the term bringing people in from out of town, which is kind of like a term from, instead of getting like local, normally when you shoot somewhere on location, you get the local crew members that's there. You don't just start flying a bunch of people in from all over the place, And so he told the truth, or his truth at least. And because of that, the producers wanted to villainize him and said that we can't believe that what he's saying is false, and we can't believe that he would use this tragedy as an opportunity for self-gain. My question is, what the hell is he gaining by telling that? This is a man who spends his life and career behind the camera. He's not a person, and trust me, as a man, I'm in front of the camera now for this show. As a man who is done most of my life, most of my career behind the camera, I don't run for the camera. Never do. As a matter of fact, as people who work with me, they all know it's a running joke of mine. I never get in my own films. Everyone's like, "Yo, Wes," and I hate doing it because I'm just not that guy. I'm not that director. You know, Spike does it, Tyler does it. There's numerous ones that do it. I'm not that guy. So I make it a point to not get in my films, not get on camera, because I belong behind the camera. So, um, I guess basically the real question to everyone is, should the producers be held accountable for this situation? Because now with this new information from the guy who actually left the set, come on, that's a bag, that's a paycheck. You're gonna walk away from a bag, you know what I mean, for no reason? Of course not. He felt, and he said he's never done that before. He's never walked off of a set for any reason, but he did it for this, and he's actually worried that the producers slandering him might hurt him getting work in the future. So, I don't know, man. It's a weird situation. Do you think the producers should be held accountable, or do you still think it stays with the armorer?
Oh, me? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I think producers are held accountable because they're the people that hired them. So yeah, they may not hold the bulk of the responsibility, but sure, they play some role in that. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And the armorer is going to be the person that at the end of the day is going to have the ultimate responsibility. They're going to be the person that's going to be put out there to blame because that whoever that person was didn't do their job properly. Sorry. Right. Now, I know people say, well, how can you tell a bullet from a fake bullet from a real bullet? There are ways to tell bullets differently, but 9 times out of 10, I can't think of any movie that I can think of where you needed a live round. Most movies will have dummy bullets or blanks.
Yeah,
maybe
really
might be a
all
situation.
Movies will have blanks.
Yeah. There might be some situation where, like on a movie set, for some reason you may have a rubber bullet, and that's generally because that's part of the film. You need a rubber bullet. But other than that, the movies are blanks. Or it's nowadays some movies don't even use bullets at all. They just use squibs or they do it in post. So there's really no excuse. You can't make that kind of error. You can't. And if you did make the error, then you should not have been the person that was hired to do that job because that's your job. Sorry. So that the armorer is going to get the full responsibility. The producers, yeah, they bear some responsibility too because they're the ones that hired this person. No, they didn't just say we're doing a movie. Somebody walks on the street and say, well, hey, I want the job. No, they did some checking. They did some references, something. But so yeah, they also bear responsibility. But at the end of the day, the armorer guy or girl, whoever that person was, or their team, if there was a team of them, they're the ones who are going to bear the local responsibility. Should they be held accountable? Yeah. Should they do time in jail? Yeah. Sorry. Yes. Yes, you should.
Wow, that's a whole.
I don't feel no sympathy for that.
Another one. Yeah, that's a whole other story.
Well, yeah, but that's what's going to happen. That's something where you say, well, because like the other 2 cases where that happened, the Eric, forget his last name, from back in the 80s at Hill, and even Brandon Lee, there was some sort of problem with the bullet itself, where it, like a piece of the bullet fractured and it went into their head. Okay, that wouldn't fall on the armor person because that you can't predict that a bullet's going to shatter as it's coming out of a gun and cause that kind of accident. You just can't prepare for that. But if they were live rounds and they both of them did it, then yeah, right. They're no different than any other person on a film set where they have an accident with someone where a death is involved. Somebody got to pay a price. Look at the Twilight that happened with the Twilight Zone years ago. Although the directors did not go to jail, but did they go to trial? Yeah, where their civil lawsuits filed. Yeah, that's sorry. That's your job. Do your job.
I agree.
Oh well.
100%. So this is a case that's obviously going to be ongoing that we'll stay updated on and keep following. But I believe that at the end of the day, the producers and the armorer are going to definitely be held accountable. I'm not sure about the assistant director because it's going to come down to what exactly does he know about guns. Because what happens is, like Ava DuVernay said, when she was in that situation, when she was handed the gun, when they were shooting something that involved guns, she looked at it, but she had no idea what she was looking at. So you're looking at something and you're counting on the word of a person who maybe who's supposed to be the expert. So it's very possible if he's going to say, "Hey, it's a cold gun," and hands it to Alec Baldwin, maybe he got that from the armorer. Maybe she said, "Yeah, it's cold here," and he's just passing it on, saying, "It's a cold gun. Here you go." So I think that he I don't know. It comes down to him, and uh, it's going to come down to what he actually knows about guns for them to hold him accountable. Because at the end of the day, he was not hired to do that task. At the end of the day. So it said here, Choka says, I think a law should be passed after this. Interesting. Interesting. Well, the bottom line is there
have been laws
already
passed about this. This is not the first time. This is not the first time that someone has gotten hurt or died on a film set. They have. I would imagine it's probably part of the labor laws. I'm quite sure there's parts of the production protocols that have to be followed. And you just don't, like I said, you're not just walking on the street say, "Oh, I need a gun. Oh, here, let me whip it out of my back pocket." You're not not doing that.
Which
at the end of the day,
which is exactly what the gentleman was saying. Which is exactly what the gentleman who left the project was saying, that they were not following the basic safety protocols when it comes to.
And see that problem right there, that falls squarely on the producers. If it's brought to the attention that such and such on your film set does not go right, that's what a producer is there to do. It's not just to sit there and have your name on the poster. No, that's part of the job of producers. That's why part of the responsibility is theirs. Because if they knew about it, they were supposed to step in and say, "Hey, what's going on? Let me see what the situation is." Now, if they didn't do that, that's why I said they're responsible. But at the end of the day, the armorer is solely responsible. Whoever that person was, their career is over. Because would you trust him or her to come on your set again? Hell no. No. Because you got a body underneath your name. I wouldn't look at you for nothing. Now the producers.
It's bad. It's bad.
Because the producers is where the civil suits are going to come. Because the producers are the people with the money. It's not the director, it's not the actor, it's the producers. They're the ones that's going to get the lawsuits.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're going to definitely get lawsuits. Now, granted, to be honest, just to let people know from a production side of things, that's what your production insurance is for. That's why you get liability insurance. But they'll probably, because of the negligence part of it, they may try to sue the production company.
They're not going to pay on that one because it's negligence. It's not, it's negligence. It's not
that's not going to.
It was not an act.
Well, once it's proven to be negligence, it hasn't been proven yet to be negligence. Right now, it's still labeled an accident. So once it's proven, it has to be proven to be negligence before that. If that's the case, then the insurance is not going to cover that. They only cover, true accidents. So, um, if you walk around, if you got insurance on your camera and you mad and you slam your camera on the ground and break it, they're not going to cover that. But if somebody walks across and accidentally knocks your camera down and breaks, then they'll cover it. So,
cover that.
accidental damage, not, or even if it's something like whatever, a light blows or whatever. Even if your camera blows out or it gets overloaded, that's all stuff that's accidents. But not if you're mad and you slam the camera down. So, or you just whatever. But anyway, we'll see. That's a developing story. That's a developing story that's just going to continue to develop until we get to a final answer. But my final answer for that, I think Kev is trying to get on. Welcome back, Kev.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, brother?
What's going on?
I just before you close out, Wes, I just wanted to address one thing. The last thing you said, Ralph, that's not 100% true. It's actually the producers wouldn't get sued. The LLC or whatever the corporation is that they put together is the actual entity that would get sued.
Which is why they put that together. Yes, whenever you do a film, you need to incorporate an LLC, the name of the film. So it'll be Rust LLC as a company, and that's basically why that's made that way. So
and then the insurance company, then the lawyers from the insurance companies are the ones that'll come in and where they'll go to from there. The only time the extra liability will get spread out is like for the armor, if the armorer had any insurance, because that's when they start to, I don't want to say piecemeal it out, but this is when they start to break it down, when they start breaking down who's responsible for what. That's why everybody got to have their own lawyers, because the production lawyer or the lawyer for the insurance for the production, that's one thing. But as individuals, like the armorer as an individual, they should have, if they were smart, they had their own insurance before they came in to double cover themselves.
But the only exception to that, what we were just saying, is if it goes through court and this is proven negligence, the insurance is not 100% going to cover that. Something that's if it's proven negligence. Right now, it's still listed as an accident. So anything that's considered an accident, that's something that you can look to the insurance company from, but they're not going to cover negligence.
And again, it depends on the type of coverage that they have, because there is a level of coverage that they do have that will cover negligence. It probably won't cover the whole thing, but they are protected to a degree.
I'm gonna assume, given the facts around this case, the fact that people walked off because they were cutting corners and not following protocols, I'm gonna assume that they got the bare minimum of insurance. Because if they cutting corners and not even doing safety meetings that are mandatory when you're doing a scene like this, right? I mean, I'm laughing because it's more so unbelievable instead of funny. It's not funny. It's just like unbelievable that you have a production that's it's just weird. I don't want to talk about it, but the bottom line is, either way, accountability has to be held, and the producers.
Hold on, I'm on air.
The producers, and the armorer, like we said, pretty much is gonna really have to answer to this at the end of the day. Definitely the producers, especially with the new information of them being not following protocols and whatever. That's why they threw that out there, and I believe me and Kev talked about that off the air.
Yeah.
They threw that out there because they want to gain, or they want to instill reasonable doubt in your mind right out the gate, because they got to cover they what's right. So reasonable doubt, say like we're gonna try to discredit this guy who in my opinion is the only innocent person involved in all of this, so to speak. I mean, Alec Baldwin didn't know what was going to happen, but I'm just saying this guy wasn't even there. He just simply answered his question. But people asked him, why did you leave the set? Why did you walk away from that bag? Basically, let's put it in perspective. Why would he walk away from a bag? Because he trying to be around to spin that bag. That's why. And or spin his next bag. And that's why he did it. And he turned out he made the smartest move of everybody and walked out. And whoever else walked with him, they made the smart moves. It's just tragic, but we'll continue to follow this story as it develops. So real quick, I did also lead this morning earlier on the top of the show, and talked about Eternals at the box office. Now I know you said you just went to go see Eternals, Ralph. I know Kev saw it. And cool, it did good at the box office. That's a good thing. I'm always happy to see these films do good. Whether or not, even if I don't like the film, I want it to do good at the box office. Just like there's no point. People put all of this time and money together, and it also kind of shows a little bit of that people are finally, starting to go back to the theaters. Would you say?
Oh yeah, they've been going back all month. Like every weekend, you got something hitting you in the movie theater. Like, oh damn, I need to go see this. I still gotta go see Dune. I haven't had to see Dune yet. I'm trying to catch it before Ghostbusters come rolling into town in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's in another couple of weeks. So it's really starting to ramp up now. We've already had. I think what do you think what's the film that kind of led this charge of new, of people back to the theaters? Was it James Bond or maybe Venom?
Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi was the one that let people start coming back, and then it goes into Bond and Venom, and like I said, like in 2 weeks you got Ghostbusters, and then right after it, which I really want to see, I want to see the House of Gucci. I think that's going to be really.
That looks interesting.
Really good.
Too, yeah, that looks pretty interesting. She said it was good. I seen it at home. Yeah, cool. Hey, yeah, she was probably talking about Dune. Because you were able to see.
Go to the movies. Start watching at home.
Man, hey, I ain't gonna tell nobody to go to the movies if they don't want to go to the movies, because I still ain't back to that.
Go to the movies.
I still ain't there. I am not saying that to people. I'm saying do what you feel.
Go to the movies.
I ain't back to it. I ain't back to it either.
No.
But I was able.
But this what I don't understand about the Eternals. But this is the thing I don't understand about Eternals, and I'm actually glad the two of you maybe asked me. If I'm not mistaken, I'm saying this because it's pretty much in the trailer. They said they're not supposed to interfere in the actual way a society is supposed to go, right? So someone said, "Why didn't you show up in the event with Thanos?" And now I thought about that after, and I'm asked the question, yeah, why didn't you? Because galactic genocide is not part. I'm gonna get to that. First of all, that's not part of your planet's history. But okay, let's just say that they didn't interfere with what happened. But they're well aware of the incidents that surrounded that Thanos came back a second time. So if you didn't interfere the first time, you knew what was coming. Why didn't you interfere the second time? I don't understand that. But once again, galactic genocide is not part of your planet's trajectory. No, that's not. Earthquake.
They can't worry about. They're assigned to Earth. They can't worry about any other
the one thing you have to realize, Ralph, is that the reason why they could there's a multiple of reasons why they can't interfere. Some of them they didn't know because of the Prime Directive. The one thing that they did not know was that because two things happened actually. Thanos actually saved the planet.
He did.
Technically speaking,
Thanos actually saved it. Yeah, by snapping his fingers. Because technically, what was supposed to happen once the planet got up to a certain amount of got up to a certain amount of individuals on the planet, that energy feeds the celestial seed that's in the planet. Right.
And that's one of the reasons why they were told they're not to interfere with man.
No. Because I didn't want to put that part out there because that's something that's not explained in the trailer. And if you didn't see the movie, now you just say, "Well, damn." So I didn't want to get that part. I'm just going about that question, right?
You can't ask that question without because it's not simple. That's why you can't ask that question without getting that answer because there's multiple.
Right. Given what Kev is saying, given the factor that you find out when you see the movie, that is the explanation of why. It gives you an explanation of why they were not able to interfere. Well, directly is the Prime Directive that they were told was one reason.
And Wes, and just pause 1 second. And also in this, in this also they're not human; they're actually robots. So that's the other reason why they're following a directive. So they're not beings, so to speak, physical beings, so to speak, with the exception of Kit Harington. He's actually a being because he's going to become a Black Knight, whatever the case may be down the road. But the Celestials themselves, the Eternals themselves, they're actually creations from the Celestials, and they're,
regardless,
they're robots.
They're not humans. So the point is, they're going to do what their creators tell them to do, even though the creators are deceiving them. And I'll leave it at that. Everyone can go and watch the film and get the whole gist of the story, but which obviously what drives the story once they find out what they find out, which is, that's how it goes, kind of typical, that's
but if that's the case, then what they're saying is a lie. If they're saying they're not supposed to interfere with the natural progression of a planet, galactic genocide is not the natural progression of your planet. It just isn't, right?
They're not supposed to interfere with nothing that has to do with what's going on with,
right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Whether it's genocide, it can be genocide, whether it's galactic or just genocide on the planet. Think of how long they were there and how much genocide they've seen.
They were there for 7,000 years, and also remember, they are not the only Eternals. They're the only Eternals here on Earth. There are other Eternals that are out there in the universe.
Right.
Yeah.
So like we said,
I get that part, but I'm talking about as a collective. See, because I'm kind of sort of based. I get what you're saying about Star Trek. Like Star Trek.
This is not Star Trek.
So let me finish. Like in Star Trek, they have the Prime Directive. Like, you are not allowed. The Federation is not allowed to interfere in the natural progression of a planet, and they pretty much stick to it. There are certain things that happen where the Prime Directive gets kind of some sort of leeway in there. There's a couple times when it happens, but ordinarily they stick to the Prime Directive because accidents will happen where you gotta come up on the fly. You gotta fix it. Right? But ordinarily they stay out the natural way of the natural progression of your planet.
Right.
Well, however,
the Federation.
So I was thinking that here, but what happened with Thanos?
Well, I'm saying the Federation It's not the creators of the people who work for the Federation. These people, or
I understand. I understand.
Eternals are directly listening to their creators.
Again, they are robots. They are not beings, so they're not thinking like us to where they have to. Where they learn. The only reason why they stepped in and learned to adapt is, and why the only reason why they stepped in to start to protect humanity is because they realized they were being deceived by not only one of their own, but also by the head celestial that created them. So that's the reason why they broke their directive.
But you don't really find out till later in the movie, because early in the movie, one of them, he said, "I have the ability to stop everything right now," and he was, and that person was stopped from doing it. So that's what I'm saying. So even though they're robots, they still have some sense of conscious thought, you know.
Right, but they're not going to go against that.
Like I said, I'm equating that. But like I said, I was equating that when just the question itself. The natural progression of your planet. I understand earthquakes, tidal waves.
You gotta understand. I mean, but Earth is not their planet. That's the other thing.
Exactly.
Earth is not their planet.
It's just their mission.
Exactly.
It's not their planet.
It's just their mission. If their mission is not to interfere with and that's the key, I think that's the key word for me. The natural progression of your planet.
That includes anything.
Right. Things come up all the time. Wars, all this stuff come up. Right. But Well, no. I think galactical genocide isn't part of the natural progression of your planet. You know,
it could have been right, but it could have been anything. Right, it could have been a meteor hitting the planet and destroying it again. They can't interfere with that.
Again, Ralph.
Hold it. But that would be the natural if the planet is aligned and the meteor was to hit the planet. I get that part. But somebody snapping a finger, that's not even on the planet. That comes from someplace else. That's not part of the natural progression of the planet. And maybe I'm just
yes, it is. It's not just. But you're trying to combine what they said into a box. Confine what they're saying into a box. Their directive is not to interfere with humans. Period.
Right.
That's their directive.
Maybe it was the natural progression of the planet and the Avengers.
What I'm saying
is that's actually as a result of the Avengers changing time, changing the natural.
Right, but that is what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. That's what she said in the movie. She said we were not allowed to interfere in the natural progression of a planet. Because the dude asked why, he said, why didn't you intervene with Thanos? So when she said that, I kept thinking about it. I said, yeah, the natural progression, earthquakes, tidal waves, typhoons, wars, poverty, all that stuff, natural progression of your planet. Because your planet has to, your society has to mature. I understand stuff. But that one, when
y'all going on because I'm on air. Y'all can't.
You know what I'm saying? That to me, that's a different scenario, right? Like it's like Wes, if you said I'm going to let my daughters, right? I'm going to let my daughters grow up to be young women, right? Or something like that. Like I'm going to let my daughters just progress the way they go, right? But somehow something comes up where a big monkey wrench is thrown up in that plan. You may say, well, wait a minute, now I got better yet. If your kids got involved in a fight, you're like, well, you either going to have to take the ass whipping or give the ass whipping because that's just part of life. But if your kids going to go fight and that's how they're being outgunned, and the people that's outgunned them are not teenagers or kids, they're full grown adults, you're going to step into that and say, wait a minute now, hold up, because now the circumstances is a little different than what you thought it was going to be.
But these are not.
See, so like I said, maybe it was just me.
The reason why that analogy doesn't work because the Eternals are not the humans are not the Eternals' kids, so to speak. They're not. They were there to fight the deviants, to take care of the deviants. That's why they're there. Not even per se to protect the humans. It's to protect them from the deviants. They were actually not even protect them. They were there to take care of the deviants because obviously, without me spoiling the movie for everybody, the Celestials who created everything pretty much. When they created the deviants, they sent the Eternals there to take care of the deviants for a reason. And that's what they're there for. It has nothing to do with that's why they say don't and we know when you watch the movie why they were told not to interfere with the progression.
Yeah.
Now we know why.
That's revealed later on in the movie.
So that's what I'm saying. So
in the movie.
Really,
I understand.
But all your question is why did they listen to their directive? Basically, they listened because Kevin answered that, because they are created by these ultimate beings and they're following their programming or whatever you want to call it, right? So that's the answer. I don't think it gets any more complicated than that.
I guess okay.
That's the answer. So, but anyway, hopefully we'll see what happens next weekend. Hopefully it has a nice run, but it had a good run for the first weekend.
Well, it's gonna have a nice run for the next 2 weeks because everybody thought there was going to be, because it's a Marvel film, they everybody was scared to release their films during this date. So that's why they lucked out. Well, not lucked out, but they got the 2-week reprieve or the extra week reprieve.
And you got the holiday coming up. People.
Yeah, and nobody wanted to go up against Eternals. During these specifically during the second week. Yeah, the first week ain't nobody trying to do that, and the second week they're not trying to go against it. But see, this is the thing that's going to be crazy because of the stupid critics and their mixed reviews. That's going to give people a false positive. So when something like Spider-Man or when something like the next Marvel property comes out that nobody's real familiar with comes out, they're going to be like, oh, well, Eternals did XYZ. We could bat up against that and we could win. And then they're going to get the Hulk smash foot all in their film. And they're going to wonder why they box office failed. Anybody
that decides to release against anybody decides to release against Spider-Man No Way Home, they're in for a thrashing. They better not do that.
No,
hopefully
I think it's just against the name Marvel. I think you don't want to go against Marvel unless you got some property that can legitimately challenge Marvel. Then that might be a different story.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be Eternals or Spider-Man. It's just the fact that it's Marvel.
In this case, it's this week. These 2 weeks are Eternals. Nobody wanted to go up against the Eternal movie. That's why people pushed their movie out an extra week because they didn't want to have to go up against Eternals for the second week.
Because usually by the third week, Spider-Man.
Yeah, because usually by the third week is when most Marvel movies start to have a drop off. Now,
probably the same thing with Spider-Man is going to happen. Here, speaking of which, I'm showing here is the poster for Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm gonna tell you something. I want to talk about the design of this poster real quick. I haven't seen a really good design poster in a long time, honestly. Like most of the posters that have been coming out lately are kind of like, typical, the same, whatever. This poster here is really designed very well. I mean, it has the.
Don't let Grace hear you say that. Jesus.
Yeah, well, I think
tore it apart.
She crazy. This is designed very well because of the way. I mean, of course, if you're gonna trying to stick all this information instead of doing the typical putting the names of the people or the faces of the people or anything like that, they just got the stuff in there. He's like in the heat of the battle. You got Doc Ock's tentacles there. There's some electricity, which is going to represent Electro. You see Green Goblin back there on the on the glider, and there's some sand there that represents Sandman. So I mean, it's just like, to me, I think it's really cool the way they
but Grace, what you're doing right now, Grace took it upon herself not to point all that out because she was so busy trying to be her and be slashy, be tacky slashy. Talk about how that's Peter Parker's spider kill suit or whatever they call that Spider-Man suit. And what they should have did, they should have showed him for what? They don't want to give too much stuff away.
Oh, right,
this is why they're showing him in that costume. He was like, then she said, "No, they could have at least have took his mask
Is
off."
this the
I would have liked
Iron
those scenes.
Spider? The Iron Spider, is that what it is?
Yeah, the Iron Spider. Yeah, the Iron Spider suit.
Well,
yep.
remember, let's remember that's the last suit we saw him in.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You know,
Thank you.
Anything. Yeah, that the last suit we saw him in. Well, with the last Spider-Man movie, he had that. Well, he mostly put it away though for most of the film, and then he kind of built his other one. But in Endgame, he was in it almost the whole Endgame movie. So I mean,
it's one of the many suits he has access to. He's
right,
not
it's a familiar suit. You know, they're not going to give you something new. You know, and why would he take his mask off? For what? That doesn't make sense.
He doesn't
take his mask off. He's in battle. Just because people know who he is, he's supposed to take his mask off? No, that's dumb. That's not for a poster.
And also at this point in time, with them showing all of the different villains of the Sinister Six that they're showing, nobody knows who he is in this universe, with the exception of maybe Green Goblin is the only one that probably knows who he is.
Maybe knows.
Oh, and Doc Ock.
Well, Doc
are the only two people.
Possibly. I mean, you remember their Peter was, the other Peter. So I mean, we don't know if they know. The point is, this is a poster. It's a promo poster for the movie Spider-Man, not for Peter Parker.
Thank you.
Or not Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker, or not what's his name?
Now see, now that would have Andrew Garfield. Now see, if they would have did something where you see Peter right there, but somewhere you would have seen the other two swinging behind him, that would have been like, whoa.
Well, that's giving it away too. If they want to,
yeah, that's giving it.
Right.
And actually, Ralph.
That.
Go ahead, Wes.
But you didn't have to put them in it. You could have just put like a spider with.
No, but they did, Ralph. They actually did.
If he's on there, you would.
They did in early promotion. Remember when they showed that picture of Spider-Man? They had that poster up of Spider-Man, and then they had the spray paint on it. What did it say it was? They called him a killer or a murderer. What did it say on that poster?
Oh, wasn't that for another trailer? Or was that in Morbius? I think that
it was in Mobius, but it was like an Easter egg towards this Spider-Man.
Right. It was showing that was just the Easter egg showing that the worlds are collided.
Right. But remember because that Morbius was supposed to come out before the Spider-Man was initially.
Right. It was originally. It was supposed to come out before. So like in the Morbius trailer, you had basically they had pointed hints towards both universes, all three universes. You had because the Morbius universe takes place in whatever universe it takes place. I don't know who Spider-Man's supposed to be in that universe, but then it points to there's a couple of Easter eggs about this Spider-Man.
Tobey Maguire,
Tom Holland.
Yeah.
And then the Oscorp building looked very similar to the one that was in Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. So it was like little hints out there and not showing. Yeah, Easter eggs like, oh man, I don't know what. Yeah, Jimmy Ace is in the building. I just want to say what up. What up, Jimmy Ace?
Oh, and I just want to pause on Spider-Man for 1 second, and I want to skip back to. I can't even do that. Sorry, never mind. Because it's kind of a spoiler.
Yeah, we're trying to hold off on the spoilers this week. Let people get a chance.
At least until next week.
Next week, if you ain't seen it, oh well. So anyhow. Yeah, so that's with the Spider-Man thing. What was I gonna say? So moving right along.
But you know what though? I can kind of sort of say this because I don't even know if I'm gonna say this, and this is directed at you two, so you two don't because you both saw it. Well, Wes, did you see it?
I did, yeah.
Okay. So in the Kit Harington's The Black Knights trailer where he found the sword in his post-credit scene.
Yeah, post-credit scene, yeah.
At the end of his post-credit scene, did y'all hear what was said?
I heard it.
And I know who it was too.
It didn't sound menacing enough to me. I was like, if y'all gonna have him be that character, y'all need to do what they did with James Earl Jones. You need to put him in a scuba suit, lower the volume a little bit. He got to be terrifying. That voice just wasn't like for that role. I was like, nah, he don't nah. It ain't the original guy.
The original guy.
It ain't the original guy.
Exactly. Yeah. I know what you mean. But that was nice. It was nice,
but it just didn't seem like it was terrifying to me. Like it's supposed to be like deep and dark, not like
not necessarily,
not like me talking. Yeah,
but it's
not.
It does. In that not in that instance, because in that instance, because remember, there's two things that's happening here. One, that next movie is not taking place in the United States. That's first and foremost. So that's the first thing.
That got nothing to do with the voice. Nothing to do with the voice at all.
Well, actually, it does, because the way he's engaging this character, he's not engaging them he's not engaging him in combat. So he's engaging him in a normal situation. So he's not going to be, aggressive. He's just going to be like, "Are you sure that's something that you want to do? Are you sure that's because it's he's posing a question to do. Like, are you sure that's Well,
I mean, it's you can look at it from other. I mean, when the other guy played him, he was always aggressive.
Always. That's like whenever you see something, put it like this: when you see Star Wars, right? When you see Star Wars, when you hear Anakin Skywalker's talk, he sounds when you hear Vader talk, it's always the same. Whether he's engaged in battle, he's walking through a hall, it's always the same. If you already set precedent for someone how someone should be, you can't reboot it or remake it and like, oh, now that's like Batman. Batman talking.
Well, you gotta remember that. See, the first thing that's the mistake everybody's going to make. This is not that character. That character was created outside of the MCU. The MCU wasn't even a thing.
That got nothing to do with
that character was the MCU, bro. That character was
No. That character was not a part of this MCU. It was a part of it was a Marvel film. Yes, it was a Marvel film.
It started off the Marvel film universe. It's just not the cinematic universe.
Exactly what I'm saying. It's not a part.
That don't mean you should break something that ain't broke.
But if it's a different, but if it's a different person, how is he going to sound the same?
You don't have to sound exactly the same. They do it with Batman. Everybody with Batman deepens their voice. At least comes similar. They deepen their voice.
Come on, guys. Come on, stop it.
I put it like this. I put it like this. I put it like this. Like I said, the thing with Vader. Like whenever you see Darth Vader in the movie,
that is Batman. That is Vader.
Wait. Let me finish. Whenever you see, wait.
Damn it,
Cap.
I'm gonna stop talking because y'all making me mess up.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna hold on a second. Whenever you see Darth Vader in the movie, right? It's always James Earl Jones. But when you see Darth Vader in other incarnations, like in the TV series, like Rebels, or in a video game, sometimes that's not James Earl Jones. But they try to make it as close as possible to James Earl Jones's voice. It's not always him doing it. So you can make it where it sounds as close as possible, right? To me, that voice coming there asking that question now, since you said it's Blade, and I'm gonna say it because it was already put out there, it didn't sound like how Wesley Snipes would have said it. It didn't sound kind of like almost battle ready or something. It just sounded like it sounded like me talking. Oh, you sure about that? No, it need to be more sinister kind of. You know what I'm saying? You sure about that?
Oh,
see how I said it?
I'm happy of the whole.
Me saying, you sure about that? It doesn't sound scary. It doesn't sound scary. It doesn't sound.
We've already.
It just sounds.
It ain't supposed to. He's not. It's not a threatening situation.
He always sounds that way, though.
He always sounds tough. He always sounds right.
Blade's always tough because he don't know who actually is friend or foe.
Like,
so
right. Think about it.
He's a loner. He was brought up as a loner. He don't trust
Think about it.
nobody. He bought him as a
Throughout the
loner.
entire series, how many times did Blade even smile? Unless he killed a whole bunch of vampires, then he might have cracked a smile. But now he wasn't cracking no smiles. He wasn't cracking no jokes. He told Ryan,
the one that they started making him do that in sucked. The one that they started making him do more, is a little more humorous. That's the one that sucked. That was the third one, Blade Trinity. So, but anyway, that's cool. So we just sat here and spoiled that for people, but
that was already put out. That
anyway,
came out on Saturday. Who it was? So that's why I'm not upset with it. Like
no, it's out
there. And thank you, Blogverse. And thank you to the Blogverse for really wrecking that nice little nugget. Like so rushed to get the story out there. Like, was that? Did you really have to do that? Did you really have to drop that all? Really?
To
get a story.
Well, you got to remember, to be honest with you, if you don't see a movie right away, they're gonna put it out there. All of the bloggers are gonna put it out there. Hell, it's probably on Wikipedia. If you go to Wikipedia, Wikipedia always puts the whole plot on stuff when you don't like. A lot of times
I say the same.
They do it all.
I say the same. The same thing about them too. Like really, at least give it till Monday to put the plot of the movie. Give me the weekend to at least go see it. I mean, I might have to work. I might got to take my kids to school. I might got to do a dance recital. I might got to do a couple things. I got to go food shopping. Like
suckers wait till the day it freaking drops. They put it out there. So anyway,
I might have to get my car oil change. Like give me a break.
Okay, so moving right along to the next topic. Which let me just get over here real quick. Put that in there. Okay, the Netflix drops their Western, all black cast, most part all black cast, star-studded Western, The Harder They Fall, and I think that came out over the weekend as well. Yeah, right now it's one of the number. I think it's the number one film on Netflix right now. Everybody's kind of watching it, checking it out. So, and as you see, there's a star-studded cast. Jonathan Majors, obviously Lovecraft Country. He's Kang the Conqueror. He's on fire.
I'm curious why Idris Elba is second fiddle. Why isn't Idris Elba's name first? I'm just
because he's not the star of the film. He's not the star of the film. That's why he's not the star of the film. Well,
he got the bigger name. He got the bigger name.
Let's not get it twisted though. Majors is on fire right now, dude. He's on fire.
He's not bigger than Idris Elba. He's not bigger than Idris Elba.
He's got a bigger role than Idris Elba in the MCU. How about that?
But Idris Elba is the bigger actor.
Yeah, he is the bigger. That's what it is.
But now it's time for me to drop the mic. In that Batman poster, the original Batman, whose name comes first? Is it Keaton or is it Nicholson?
Nicholson.
It's Nicholson's, right? No,
yeah,
it's Nicholson.
I know in the film Nicholson's name. I don't know about the poster. I know the film Nicholson's name.
Go look up. But
he's petty. He's petty, and he fights for stuff like that. Idris Elba probably don't, ain't worried about that sort of thing. It's all about who fights for that. That's all stupid union stuff and all of that. Yeah, that's SAG bullshit. I mean, they did the same thing with Directors Guild. The SAG was trying to fight Lucas about putting people's names on the poster and stuff like that. That's all SAG garbage. But so you got Jonathan Majors, Idris Elba, Zazie Beetz. So you could say the same question: why Zazie Beetz before Regina King? Or maybe they did this one based on the role. Maybe they did this based on the role. I don't know. Or maybe they just wanted to leave it random. Doesn't matter. So Zazie, and it's really just reading left to right. Whose name is actually first? It's just left to right. It's not like top to bottom. So who's better than who? They're all on the same playing field, really. So Regina King, of course.
Maybe. Maybe I'm just trolling right now.
Lakeith Stansfield, all these people here, and there's a whole lot. Deion Cole, a lot of names, a lot of recognizable faces in this film. So the film drops. People are excited. They want to watch it. So I have to bring this up because this has been a big hot topic over the weekend and even before the film dropped. So I want to talk a little bit about fact versus fiction on the harder they fall. The reason why I want to talk about that is because it's been such a big thing that people have been complaining about. Of course, mostly black people. But anyway, so now here's the dilemma, okay? The dilemma they got going on is this. Each of them play a character, a historical figure, who actually are people that exist. However, the director has explained numerous times this film, for people who may or may not know, is a completely fictional film, meaning the story is completely made up. All right. These are people who are actual, these characters are inspired, they say, as not just inspired, they are the people of actual people from that time, right? But the story is completely made up. And what
as they said in the beginning of the story with the caption, these people existed. Don't get it twisted. These people existed.
They existed, but it's completely. This is a fictional story, but these people did exist. Now, there's a lot of
before you, I'm sorry, Wes. Before you go on with that, I found that so comical that they said this is a fictional story, and then it went away, and then it popped up. These people existed.
Yeah, existed. Well, I mean, to be honest, because there's a whole lot of history behind that as well. Because cowboys, the original cowboys, a lot of are mostly
not the Dallas
color.
Cowboys.
Yeah, not the
Dallas Cowboys.
Right, mostly people of color. Right, they actually, I mean, even you go all the way back to the origin of the name cowboy, So, but I'm not even gonna go there with that. But anyway, so here's that's the setup, right? So then you got people who complained about the casting.
People was complaining
about the casting of Zazie Beetz. All right, so I've been dealing with this for the last week and a half, dude. Like before the film even came out. So you got some people. You got people who are complaining that Zazie Beetz was cast as Stagecoach Mary, right? Because she doesn't look like the original Stagecoach Mary, who is a darker skinned, tall, heavy set woman. Right, she was like 6 feet tall, darker skin, heavy set woman. So they were upset about the casting of Zazie Beetz. So I want to go here. So
okay,
let me finish. Go ahead. So I'm gonna go down the line real quick. And my point is this: the reason why I looked up something that the director talked about, and he addressed that issue. He said, a lot of the characters in this film the actors may not resemble the actual people exactly, or whatever the case may be. And he said that for all his characters, really. He said, because even though they're real people, these characters are kind of like made up characters inspired by those real people. So for instance, Nate Love, the main character, he wasn't this outlaw that he was portrayed in the film. All right. So, Nate Love existed, but he was far from an outlaw.
But you don't hear nobody complaining about that.
No one complained about that. the fact that here's Idris Elba who plays Rufus Buck, right? Here's a picture. That's the real Rufus Buck next to Idris Elba right there, right? No complaints.
And he kind of look like he's teen light skin.
Yeah, right. Exactly. No complaints. So there's Zazie Beetz. This is the big complaint with Stagecoach Mary. Like I said, she's doesn't look nothing like her, right? There's the original Stagecoach Mary, right?
Now you tell me, where's a black woman in Hollywood that's 6 feet that looks like that woman? The closest you're going to get to that is either a homegirl for How to Get Away with Murder, or a homegirl from Lovecraft Country. The dark skinned girl from those are only two.
The one who played the sister. I could have went with her. I could see her doing it because she was kind of tall too, right? That woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So let me continue. That stays with me.
Well, Angela Bassett.
That's
teen light skin.
Yeah, but all of those. But to me, Angela Bassett and what's her name from How to Get Away with Murder? I think given what he wanted to do in this story, Viola Davis. Given what he wanted to do in the story, they were too old.
Right, they wouldn't have been able to do that.
They're too old for that character. So, okay, this is the Rufus Buck gang,
and
right?
With the exception of the one in the middle, they're all Team West, Team Light Skin, without a Mets hat. What are y'all talking about?
Okay, so here's obviously Jonathan Majors plays Nate Love.
Yeah, he's at me and Ralph's corner. As a matter of fact, he's probably even.
But here's the real Nate Love here, who looks to be
okay. That's not that bad. That's okay. Bad. That's all right.
He looks to me like Brown.
Yo,
Nate Love. Now, wait. Go back to that picture. Go back to that other picture of Nate Love.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at him, now this is what I want to bring up. No. This is what I wanted to bring up. What a lot of people don't realize, and I'm kicking historical facts right now. Y'all can go back and do your homework after it because it's not our job. It's our job to inform you. It's your job to educate and solidify what knowledge you get for yourself. The reason why that dude looks the way he looks, because 9 times out of 10 he's an Aboriginal or a native or a black native of this country. Which a lot, specifically on the eastern seaboard and towards the south, a lot of us, which the United States was originally called Turtle Island, a lot of us are out. The reason why we can't trace our roots back to Africa is because a lot of us were here before even before the slavery Africans came here. A lot of us were here when the Vikings came here. A lot of us were here when the Egyptians came here. As a matter of fact, if you go back to Aztec times, the Olmecs, which were on the West Coast, those are blacks that were on the West Coast that were a part of Mexico. So that's the reason why he has a Jerry curl, Ralph, or why it looks like he has a curl.
Look like he got a because he's mixed. He's not fully black.
He's a native. It's not even that he's mixed. Yeah, he's not even mixed. He's not even mixed with other.
It looks like he's got a perm.
Yeah, but he's actual. No, he looks like it, but
pictures of him with no hair.
Yeah, but they weren't doing cocking and perming back then.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Back in those times.
These are more pictures of him because he had a memoir that he wrote, and these are like pictures of him as he's progressing. He was working in the railroad and stuff like that. So I'm showing these pictures because he was not an outlaw.
This is Roy Lindell's part. That was Roy Lindell.
No, this is still Nate Love.
Oh, still Nate Love. Okay.
All right, this is still Nate Love. This is just a progression of his life because he wrote a memoir and it had different pictures of as he got older. So he was a conductor. Okay, so now we go to Cherokee Bill, right? Which was played by Lakeith Stansfield. Very well played by him as well.
And note the name, Cherokee Bill.
Now look at this.
He looked nothing like him. Nothing like him at all.
There's another picture of Cherokee Bill. There was another one I had in here, but he looks nothing like him, right? That's like him and his crew. Now, Cherokee Bill was an outlaw, and he was part of this crew. But everyone always talks about how Cherokee Bill was light enough to pass for a white man.
Because he was probably what?
Right. He was mixed. No, he was actually had some history on him. They were saying about him being the yeah, he's mixed Mexican, Cherokee, Indian, and white ancestry, where he was let's see, blah, blah,
I was gonna
blah.
call him Mexican because looking at
he
his
got
chin.
Mexican in him. Yeah, he got Mexican in him. Yeah, and they said here,
so he's real native, except for that little pinch of salt he got in him. But
he's real native there. What else was here? I'm trying to look up something else that I saw here. But even there was another.
I love this. West came with motherfucking receipts. Like, right. How dare you say
that? I'm just letting y'all know, man.
I mean, I'm looking like this. I'm looking like this, and you're right. It is by me because look, Quentin Tarantino has been making a history of film and films where he changes the ending, changes reality to make a great film.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
and
I mean, I don't think that Sharon Tate looked anything like Margot Robbie, but hey, that was the person that he picked to play that role because she was the best actress. So if you had a bunch of black actors that may not have looked like these particular characters, but were the best, and since this is your interpretation, then let it go. This ain't the History Channel. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's not like you're gonna snap your fingers and go back in time and you're gonna put the new crew in front of the old crew.
But again, we're dealing with black folks who are going to be the main ones that are complaining, but who didn't listen in the beginning of the film. It said this is a fictional movie. What?
Everybody,
these people existed.
Exactly.
Like listen,
and on top of that,
Denzel did look like Malcolm X, but he did not look like Mantu Stephen Beacon. He didn't, but he was the best actor for the role. Deal with it. That's real life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Exactly. So, okay. So let me continue. Now there's a couple other ones in here. Let me see who else they had in here. Okay, let's go. Let's move forward. That's Cherokee.
My question is this: to all the people that's complaining, who want to play you in the movie about your life? Nobody, because nobody cares about your life. So be quiet. Sit there. Go eat your sandwich. Have a banana. Shut the hell up.
Ooh, burn. Burn. Okay, so
I'm just saying.
I know who can play me. I know who can play me. It's just one person that can play me, Cameron.
I know who can play you. Ghostface Killer.
Yeah, Ghostface Killer Cameron can play me. I prefer Cameron. Cameron got a little bit more edge to him. I love Ghostface. Well,
he's got some more chops too, more acting chops.
Yeah. And he can play ball.
I mean, he was pretty good. He was pretty good at playing the ball.
Okay,
I'll give him that one. He was good.
Jim Beckworth, right, is the character that this guy played. This is a picture of him that I found. Right, he's actually also Jim Beckworth was the one who was. Most of these people were born into slavery.
Mm-hmm.
He was the son of a white man and an enslaved woman. So Massa was going in there and hitting the woman, and Beckworth actually was awarded his freedom by his father in 1810. So but he looks to be brown skin ish, So yeah,
who he looks like? You know who he actually looks like? He kind of sort of looks like, damn, the guy that he's in New Jack City.
Mm-hmm.
He was in New Jack City. He played the captain in New Jack City. I think he used to play Roger's dad on What's Happening. He kind of looks like him, but you weren't going to get that guy because that guy's got to be about 70, maybe 70 something years old. Yeah. You need someone like a little bit of youth.
Well, I mean, plus that's a picture of him. This is a young version of him, so to speak. So I guess they just went with it, right? All right. So you got that, and here's the other gentleman.
That's my
Bill
man
Pickett.
Right there. This dude
Bill,
is such a good actor.
Yes, Bill Pickett. There's Bill Pickett, who also was like a ranch dude. He wasn't once again, fictional story. Wasn't no outlaw. That's him again. That's just.
But he was a real cowboy.
He was a real cowboy for real. Yeah, exactly. So these are just more pictures of it. So now what I want to. Oh yeah, we come along.
Why is that white guy looking all goofy in the background in that one picture? Why is that one dude looking all goofy?
Oh, he had reason. Trust me. Yeah, he had He had
enough of reasons.
I'm not gonna spoil it.
He's looking.
He had about 8 or 9 reasons to look goofy.
So, okay, so we come along to, of course, this gentleman here, Delroy Lindo, who is playing Bass Reeves. He's like a sheriff, or he was a deputy. He was one of the first, or he was the first black U.S. deputy marshal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Bass Reeves, a little lighter. He looks lighter as well. He's definitely lighter than Delroy Lindo. So, once again, I brought all this up. Like Kev said, I'm bringing receipts.
Wait, that dude can hear a train coming from Europe. He got some satellite ears.
He could have Will Smith play him. He could have Will Smith play that.
You could have heard the Death Star coming from like around the moon with them ears. Like, damn.
Yeah.
E.T.
Hey, listen. Don't try to get on us for making fun of our ancestors. Now we allowed to joke.
Little history nugget. Little history nugget here. I put that.
Oh God! Here we go.
I got it. I can't bring up Bass. I can't bring up Bass Reeves without bringing up the fact that Bass Reeves was the original inspiration for the Lone Ranger. Because of his because he was a bad liar.
Wait. This is what we need. We need this sound effect.
Yeah.
Say this. That's the receipt.
I'm gonna do the gunshots for this one. I ain't got no.
That's when she had a Lone Ranger theme playing. She had the theme playing.
Right? Yeah, I don't. I let's see. Do we got any receipts in here? No, we ain't got no cash register. Oh well, we got gunshots. Bass Reeves was one of there was a historian who came out and said, now of course there's other stories of who the Lone Ranger was inspired by, but a historian came out and talked about based on this man's real life adventures, or whatever you want to call it, his real life things that he actually did, and where he did them. It was kind of proof that he was the inspiration for the Lone Ranger. All the way back then.
For decades, they buried that. For decades, they didn't want
they
know.
They wanted to let that come out.
For decades, we were out there in the 1970s.
So Lone Ranger was a black
playing. Yes.
The real Lone Ranger.
The real Lone Ranger.
This is the Lone Ranger obviously is a made up character, but this is the person who
inspired that.
Actually inspired it because of his actual
But they wasn't gonna have a lawman. We can't have your Bass Reeves. That was a black man. No, we have to. No, we can't do that. We got to call the Bronx. Call the Bronx. Get one of them immigrants off the boat. We're gonna put one of them in there. Let them play the part of the Lone Ranger.
Yeah. So they say like this. Reeves is a history as a lawman. Is notoriously colorful. He would often sing softly before going into a gunfight, which they actually kind of touched on in the film. He was whistling though. He didn't. Mm-hmm. But they did sing too. They sing too. They would be singing too. But he did do that whistle thing too. Mm-hmm. They said he was one of the most successful lawmen in American history. Not Wyatt Earp. Bass Reeves. Was one of the most successful.
I bet you a daisy now, ain't you, Wyatt?
So now, don't get me wrong. I love Wyatt. I love the movie Tombstone, and I do love the whole story about Wyatt Earp. But I'm just saying, he's one of the most successful.
If we gotta keep it a buck,
American history.
If they line
more
up
than
in
3,000 3,000 fugitives during his 32-year career. He arrested more than 3,000 fugitives in his 32-year career.
Wow.
He, not they,
By
not a whole bunch of
himself.
other, not him and a whole bunch of other niggas.
Which is why he's called the original Lone Ranger, because he didn't have a team. He did it on his own. He did it by himself. Yeah. So that's why they call it. You see what I'm saying? Bash was Bash.
I want more westerns. If y'all can give us all these daggone slave movies, I need some more westerns. And I need them to be spaghetti style westerns with black folks in them, because you know what, they kick butt. Even though I do got a couple little in there where because sometimes we slip up and be confused and stuff and bringing modern stuff into old times that wasn't there.
Right.
I prefer us to keep the dialogue original. Sometimes I prefer us to keep the music original. But what I love that they did with this, they use reggae music.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And I love that, because reggae music and cowboys fit perfectly together.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was a cool idea and to do that. And here finally we get to Treacherous Trudy, Gertrude. What's her name? Gertrude Smith or something like that. Treacherous Trudy, played by, of course, Regina King. There's one picture. So now, with that being said, with all of that, right?
Regina King could get it today.
Oh man, she could have got it 20 years ago.
Last week.
See, y'all thinking too short. I'm talking long term. Like, she can continually get it. Like, when I come home from work, don't be doing nothing. I'm coming home to get it.
So now the reason why I brought all that stuff up.
Receipts, cha-ching.
Well, yeah, receipts. That's one thing. I brought all that stuff up for a very good reason, and I'm just gonna let the slideshow run as I talk about this. Now, had to bring all that up because everyone who's complaining about the Zazie Beetz casting, no one complained, as we said at the top of this. No one complained about all these other characters who don't fit the character, who don't fit the actor. Some of them,
he clearly don't look like this dude.
Right. Some of them were light skinned, so you don't see a bunch of light skinned butthurt people saying, "Hey, that's not an accurate casting. Cherokee Bill doesn't look like that."
That's all, you dumbass. And yes, I'm calling you dumbass. And please, I'm a half a cripple right now. I done had 2 strokes. Please come for me. Listen, my blade hand still works. I'll cut you. All you dark skinned ass, colorism ass mother suckers.
My blade hand still
mad. Getting mad because Team Light Skin is on the screen winning. And Zazie Beetz looked dope. And you know what? Because guess what? If it wasn't Zazie Beetz, if this was 20 years ago, you know what? Actually, who would have been playing that role? It would have been Halle Berry if it wasn't Zazie Beetz.
Probably.
Let's just keep it up.
So my thing is this: the fact of the matter that the director said from the beginning, even before they put it on the screen, he said this is a fictional story. And what I mean by fictional story, people who may or may not know, this is what I mean by a fictional story. Half of these characters that we're seeing were not even really outlaws or anything like that. Only Bass Reeves was a real sheriff, a real deputy U.S. Marshal. Rufus Buck was an outlaw, definitely, and so was Cherokee Bill. But I'll tell you another thing. Guess what, people? None of them even really knew each other. They didn't even know each other. Cherokee Bill did not know Rufus Buck like that.
Nope. And Love and Buck wasn't brothers. In no sense or shape or form.
No spoilers, Kev.
I'm sorry, my bad. I'm gonna shut up.
Then you got Nate Love, whose love interest was Zazie Beetz' character. They didn't even know each other. Nate Love in Stagecoach Mary, they didn't even know each other in real life. And I hate to have to bring this to people's attention because it may actually kind of throw, it may actually be a little bit of a downer for some people. But what the film did was it made you go and research these people and learn about them.
Exactly what it's supposed
and that's
to do.
all he wanted to do. That's all he wanted to do. He wanted to make a good film, and it was inspired by these people. But
he grew up researching. He grew up loving these people because he grew up loving Western.
Researcher, because I said I mentioned before at the top of the show, he did a Western back in 2013, which is the first time I even heard of the guy. And he had did a Western, and because I remember the Western had Erykah Badu in it, and it was called "They Die by Dawn." That was the name of the film. Yeah, that was the film, and he directed that and wrote it. So the bottom line is that, just to really drive this point home, people. The fact that this man put together the story, it was a good story. It flowed well. It was a good film. I've been going back and forth with people on social media. It's a good thing that I'm about to hit my social media break, because every few months I take a break from social media altogether and don't even go on it, right? I'm glad I'm about to hit that. I have the date set up because I'm just like, I've had it. Everyone wants to talk about how this is such a missed opportunity to cast a good dark-skinned Black woman in this role. Such a missed opportunity.
What missed opportunity? How many shows have we had where the lead woman, hell, Viola Davis has racked up nominations as the lead Black woman. We've gotten so many representations from Kerry Washington all the way down to homegirl from Lovecraft Country and beyond of Black women. Stop it with this colorism shit.
Well,
a strong Black woman is a strong Black woman no matter what her hue is. Because let's keep it a buck, you stupid MFs. If you went to Africa right now, from Liberia all the way down to the coast of South Africa, there are different complexions of people. And I'm talking about before the Arabs got there, before the French came and intermingled, before the Spaniards came and intermingled with the North Africans and the Egyptians, before the Greeks came and intermingled with the Egyptians. There were different complexions of Black people with curly hair. Go to Altrea. Over there by Ethiopia, over by Sudan, where the richest, darkest, blackest people are.
Right. The thing is this.
Listen.
So everyone wants to say how this is a missed opportunity, and it's a whole colorism thing. Like I said, if the director wouldn't have addressed it, I still would have said shut up. But the point is, he said basically what he said. This film is a fictional story that I wanted to tell. This inspired by these people, but they're real people. All right. And so then they're like, I saw that complaints. Then I saw the complaints about, it was well, of course they don't want to cast a dark-skinned woman as the love interest and blah blah. I'm like, first of all,
Regina King ain't dark-skinned?
Right,
exactly. Regina King ain't dark-skinned?
Regina King was the love interest for Buck, right? Or for Rufus, right? But even without her, the point is this: number one, he's not. I go back again. In real life, people, she was not his love interest. She didn't even know him.
Exactly.
In real life. He created that love interest. So he's not going to look at it from the beginning and say, we need to cast a light-skinned woman to play his love interest. And so why they cast Zazie
my question.
is unknown. But it doesn't matter who. Go ahead, Ralph. What's your question?
No, come on. When people are saying that it was a missed opportunity to cast a dark-skinned Black woman in that role, okay, who? What actress in Hollywood right now fits that bill? A strong Black, dark-skinned female, tall, heavyset. What female fits that role? Because
and has to be a certain age range.
I don't know who that is.
Because remember, they're portraying, and the other thing you have to remember too is all of these people, even though they may have been born around the same time, they weren't all of the same age. Nope. So the whole purpose of this fictional film was taking all of these identities and placing them at their youngest.
Right.
And
or
pitting
at their
them
best,
together.
The most known. Yeah.
Basically, look at it as WWE tag team. You got Team Buck and you got Team Love.
Right. And the bottom line is, like, a good example of what he said. You know, you taking different characters, he's plucking them from different parts of history and putting them together in a film. And that's the beauty of filmmaking. And his key words, that's what I meant to say about the director. He said, this is not a biopic. That's what he said. He said to people, when people say, well, why didn't you cast him? Well, because I'm not telling a story about Stagecoach Mary. This is not a biopic about her. If it had been, I would have approached it differently. But I'm telling one story about, you know, one or two characters with these other characters that filled in. But these, you know, she was not, first of all, Nate Love did not have a gang. And second of all, she wasn't part of it. She didn't even know Nate Love. So, you know, like I said, Cherokee Bill, Rufus Buck, they were real outlaws. And I think this guy here too, one of these guys, I forget which one it was, but they were like real outlaws. But I mean, stop it, people. My whole point of my whole point of bringing this up, my appeal to my people, please relax. All right, stop looking for the same. Stop. Someone. I'm gonna repeat something that someone said in one of the groups that I'm in. And I want to repeat. I'm not gonna say his name because I'm gonna put him on blast. But I do want to echo what he said. He basically said, "There's nothing," and he put in caps, "nothing a black creative can do to satisfy black people."
And on that note, I'm going to play Miss Pac-Man.
I don't know how to feel about it.
I don't know how to feel that either. Who knows? Really hopefully we don't get taken off from copyright infringement. Yeah.
I could see if you said you were about to play Bruise Brothers or something with some fighting.
Let me say this one more time. And I'm gonna put my gunshots behind this one. There is not. He said it, and I'm repeating him because I agree with him. At least it feels like there is nothing a black creative can do to satisfy black people. Period. Right. And
y'all the same ones that were saying Beyonce shouldn't have been in Dreamgirls. It should have been somebody else. Oh, it shouldn't have been Eddie Murphy. Stop, guys! Stop it. Yeah. We all can't. Everybody can't be Denzel.
But these are the same people. We had a discussion about this months ago. This is the same people that were riding with that thing. This is why I got so heavy on the woman from Coming to America. Remember, she tried to pull the whole colorism thing. The woman who played his wife that was, chosen for him.
Vanessa Bell Calloway.
Vanessa Bell Calloway. And everyone started running with that. The moment that story was put out there, that she said that, which is why I came down on her so much. I said, you going after the man who just put a bag in your pocket after 20 years. He didn't have to do that. And he came back and got you and put a bag in your pocket, which you would not have been missed if the film would have been done without you. And not just that. Let's tell the truth. That's your truth. Tell it. If you feel that's what happened, that's your truth. A lot of people say that. Remember, we got on Tyrese. How Shout out to my son.
Transformer Tyrese.
Oh my God.
Tyrese shooting robots.
My son jumped in. That was when my son was on.
What we said? Jody shooting robots. Jody doing the bank robbery. Jody driving cars.
Jody fighting vampires. That's the new movie. Jody chasing vampires.
Jody fighting vampires.
So, I mean, Jody in the car. Yeah, shout out to my son, my man, one kid, Prime.
That needed to be a meme. That should have been a meme.
That was funny.
With some pictures. That should have been a meme with some pictures of saying
same thing with that. When he said that he felt it was colorism because Terrence Howard he beat him over roles. You know, Terrence Howard beat him out over roles, and he thought that was because it's colorism.
Because he's a better actor.
Exactly. But my point is these are the same people that run with this narrative, and they say, "Oh yeah." Now, granted, let me go on record by saying, which is, I can't believe I have to say this. Of course, colorism exists. Of course, it existed in Hollywood. It does exist in Hollywood, but it doesn't mean every instance. Everything's not a conspiracy. Everything's not it's not everything. Just perfect example. One of the stories that broke over the week. We talked about Letitia Wright, who is still recovering from her injuries while shooting Black Panther, right? And so Black Panther production has shut down for the rest of the year, basically, right? Further proof that she is a main character, and
it must be a real serious injury to shut down for the end of the year.
Right.
That's like another 8 weeks.
Well, think about this though. All productions usually start shutting down anyway midway through November for the holidays. So, and then they pretty much shut down for the holidays, and they don't come back until the first of the year or whatever. Almost every production does that. So, being that she's not ready to come back on set yet, it's like, okay, we're in November now. We might as well just stop production at this moment, and we might as well just stop production and then resume when we come back for next year. What are the people saying? Everyone thinks everything's a conspiracy. No, I think that's because she refused to get vaccinated. And I said, what does that have to do with anything? She is still the lead of this film. That's not changing. All right, not now. It's not changing. So, what are we talking about here? Oh, it's because she refused to get vaccinated. This sounds fishy. They never disclosed what type of injury she had. Obviously, it was a pretty serious one. And hell, she ain't nothing. What is she, a $110 soaking wet? She's so damn frail looking anyway. So we don't know. We don't know what type of injury she sustained. So let's not go conspiracy theories I mean, hey, I like a good conspiracy theory myself, but the bottom line is let's stop doing that for every damn thing. And
especially
just like
she was doing her own stunts.
Right. Obviously she probably was doing some of her own stunts.
She really did stunts. Really.
Right. So I mean, let's exactly. So and she is, and there was a report that I was reading that, they said in the report Wright's character Wright has been upgraded or promoted to the lead of the film, which is why they decided to stop production, because there's not much they could shoot around her at this point. So, and I also believe that coming up on the holidays got something to do with it as well, because it's like, hey, we might as well shut down. We're going to be shutting down for the holidays anyway. And they said she will be returning early 2022. That could be January. That could be February. So I'm expecting her to be back in January.
That's what that means. That means when after the ball drops, New Year's morning, have your ass on set. I don't care about you back.
Get back on set and get it done because they got deadlines.
Advil on ice. Advil on ice.
Yeah. Get a little icy hot. Rub it on there.
Get some perks.
Icy hot.
Get some perks set.
Yep, that's all.
Exactly what you.
So
what
now, yes, she has been publicly said that she doesn't agree with the whole vaccination stuff like that. That has nothing to do with why she's not back on set. Because first of all, it's not mandatory to be vaccinated to be on a film set. You just got to get tested. You got to get tested a lot. But even when you are vaccinated, you still got to get tested. On set. So that's it's you know what I mean. So I don't know, man. And she said, "Black Queens winning." That's right. I agree. Black Queens winning. Let's just be happy with that. And I'm not saying turn a blind eye to the things that are being done wrong, but everyone is so black people. I'm gonna say everyone. I have to stick. I gotta stick to this. Black people are so quick to try to point a finger at other black people for colorism, when no one was complaining. The fact that I don't care how good of an actor he is. I mean, Scrooge, I do care. The reason why they didn't complain is because he's such a great actor. But you understand how much lighter Malcolm X is than Denzel Washington? You understand how much lighter Malcolm X was?
Larry Fishburne actually should have played him.
You know how much light. Even Larry Fishburne is not as light as Malcolm X was.
Malcolm X, that's true too.
Very light.
Right, he was light and had red hair. Yeah.
Okay. But no one cares because number one, I guess they don't care because it's the guy.
Good
right?
actor.
And he's a great actor. That's why no one's going to care because he took care of the role. The fact that Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, was nowhere, looked nothing like Thurgood Marshall.
Nothing like him, but he rocked that role.
But he took care of the role.
Angela Bassett is not Sophia Turner.
Right, exactly. She took care of the role. Larry Fishburne, we just mentioned, Larry Fishburne is actually a couple shades lighter than Ike Turner.
Mm-hmm.
But he took
care of the role.
So let's stop trying to look for an excuse to say colorism. Because if it was a white person producing this, they would say whitewashing. Because it's a black person that produced it, they say colorism.
And I could tell you, there are so many movies, including that movie. That there was a 9/11 movie that actually was so color washed, so whitewashed that people didn't even know it. That firefighter, I forget which 9/11 movie it was, but that firefighter that they, I think it was either Kevin Spacey's or Nicolas Cage's character. I can't remember which movie it is, but that firefighter that they did from that 9/11 movie, he was actually black. He wasn't white.
Right.
But we don't hear, y'all don't say nothing about that. That's why, that's why in 2022, I'm coming to Hollywood and I'm going to be shopping a movie that's going to be called Marry White and Better the Race.
Well, here's the deal. That's funny. Here's the deal. The bottom line. This is why.
This sounds like the next Pixar movie. Right. That sounds like the next Pixar movie.
This is why I make films that I like.
Maybe people will understand it if it's a cartoon. Maybe they'll get it.
This is why I make films that I enjoy. I make the kind of films that I enjoy watching. I am not gonna fall into that trap as a black filmmaker or as a filmmaker that happens to be black. I'm not gonna fall into that trap of trying to make a film to please any people, black, white, whatever. But I'm just talking on this level to please black people. I write, I produce, I direct films, the kind of films that I like to watch and enjoy, which is a whole bunch of type of things. I'm not going to be like, oh, I was asked once before on an interview, because I'm a black filmmaker, do I feel compelled to tell black stories, whatever, right? I said, hell no. I'm a storyteller. I feel compelled to tell whatever god darn story that I want to tell. And that is it. And if anyone has a problem with that, guess what? There's millions of people out there that share my view of what a good film is. So I will have an audience. Maybe it won't be you, Mr. Colorism person. you know, I got and I hate to even bring this up, but it touches a nerve with me because I hear this crap all the time, and actually a victim of it. People do it all the time to me. You know, my comic book, for crying out loud. All my characters are based on people of color, except one. I put I hired someone who drew their interpretation of my characters. I put it in this room that's about black comic book creators. And the first thing, one or two people coming at me talking about these characters aren't black. What? I'm like, Negro, I'm black.
Again, from the tip of Libya and Casablanca all the way down to the coast where all the sharks live in South Africa. There are so many, from east to west, there are so many different, in a tria, people are light-skinned. What's his face? What's his name? What's the rapper name that got killed in front of his store?
Oh, you're talking about Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah, Nipsey Hussle. His family, his lineage is they're Eritrean. They're from East Africa. They're Eritrean. That's on the eastern coast of Africa. Those people are light skinned, or at the darkest Tiffany Haddish's color. They're not really dark. And actually, them and the Ethiopians are the original Hebrews. They're part of the. But that's a whole other story. I'm sorry, I'm getting off track.
Right.
But my point being is that just like here in America, in the motherland, and just like here, just like when you go to Australia, as a matter of fact, before the Britons got to Australia, there were only black people with blue eyes and blonde hair. But I'm not gonna go there. You know what I'm saying? So when you go to, as a matter of fact, here's how bad colorism is. If you go to India, you are called, if you're my complexion or darker, you are gula or gula. Gula or gula. That is a term for you black ugly motherfucker.
Black, yeah. Because they even do that with Guyanese in Guyana. The Indian Guyanese are called something.
You can't even date if you're Indian Guyanese. You can't even date a regular black person. You can't if you're Indian Guyanese and you live in Trinidad. I dare you. I dare you as a woman wrap your arms around a black man.
Right.
That's the same complexion as you.
That's the colorism. That's the real colorism. That's the.
And I'm gonna say one more thing, and then I'm gonna shut up. And here's the crazy part. The crazy part about most Trinidadians they're native from America.
Right.
From the north, because a lot of them, when they escaped slavery, they moved south and they went south to Trinidad. So a lot of them was natives that came from here. A lot of them wasn't from Africa.
Right. So the to wrap the whole point up, basically, pipe down. Stop complaining about. Stop looking to throw rocks at something that's not there. The man wrote a fictional story, a good one. It was fun. It was a good film. Great acting in it.
#1 on Netflix too.
Right. He wrote a great. Like I said, the acting was great. The action was good in it. Nice gunplay. And if it did nothing else, it made people interested in researching these people who Kevin mentioned earlier were people that this young man grew up researching. So his job is done. He got people running and looking these people up. But what they're doing is everyone, and I say this, and I don't want to get off track. Everyone wants to be that person that say that ain't real, that ain't really happened, that didn't ever happen. They doing it with the Wu-Tang story. They were doing it with the Wu-Tang story. The very first thing, if you get a Wu-Tang member, every single person, the very first question they're gonna ask them is, How much of that Wu-Tang story really happened? Was this real? Was this real? Was this real? Was this real? And I'm just like, yo, why can't we? First of all, the RZA has already said a lot of the stuff they had to embellish and dramatize stuff for television. It's based on their real lives, and a lot of the stuff happened. One of the actors, Shamik Moore, said the stuff. He's like, a lot of the stuff in this really happened, but it's condensed. It's put together. He's like, so one thing may happen. He's like, because it's television. We only have 9 or 10 episodes to tell a whole season of a story. So one thing might have happened in one episode that actually covers several months or maybe even a year, because so they can't tell everything. It's just the reason why people sitting there, RZA's that woman don't look nothing like RZA's sister. RZA said this woman he cast, Zoli Griggs, she is her character is an embodiment of all of his sisters. He has 11 siblings.
Sisters, yes, and he couldn't put them all in it, so he condensed his family down.
He condensed his family. You only saw 4 people in his family.
As a matter of fact, she's a combination. That girl, if I'm not mistaken, is a combination of 3 or 4 people in this family.
Right, that's it. Yeah, all of his sisters. He said she's a combination of all his sisters.
Have you guys been watching the American Crime Story, the impeachment of Bill Clinton?
I haven't watched it yet.
Well, the girl that they got playing Monica Lewinsky, although it's a white person, but that girl looks nothing like Monica Lewinsky, not at all, because the girl playing it is shorter and she's heavy. She's heavy set. Monica Lewinsky wasn't heavy set at all. She was kind of thick, but not heavy set. She was certainly taller. But the girl playing her they look nothing alike. So I mean,
I'll give you one further. Here's the thing that so surprised me, but it doesn't surprise me. But I don't hear none of y'all mother suckers complaining about BMF. And 50 clearly stated in the dialogue, this is a fictional story, but believe a lot of this shit probably did happen.
Well, 50, he's smart. He ain't gonna say what really happened because you incriminate people.
Exactly.
That's snitching. So
and even though on some of the stuff the statute of limitations is up, and some people that got locked up for the shit already, but he's smart. He said, but some of this shit may have really happened. But you ain't heard that.
I ain't taking it.
But here's the thing. Ain't nobody complaining about that.
Right.
At all.
No one's complaining about none of that stuff. And I agree with you, Ace. I said Ace. I call her Ace. Chocolate Padilla says, that's right. People need to appreciate the art. That's right. I agree. They need to just appreciate the art. In this case, definitely. You want to. This is not the fight. This is not the time, to fight for stuff like this. Because no reason.
Here's the sad part. Y'all motherfuckers constantly complain. We don't hear our stories. They don't never put nothing about us on TV. And as soon as you get something,
real history. It's about real historian people that lived in this time. Although it's a made-up story, it doesn't matter. It's something that's entertaining for you to be proud of. I'm proud of the film, actually. I have nothing to do with making it, but I'm proud of it. That's why I schooled y'all today. For all of y'all that may or may not know, I just schooled y'all about the Lone Ranger. There's the picture right there. About the inspiration for the Lone Ranger. This character is in this film. There he is right there, Delroy Lindo's character.
Bass Reeves.
So, Bass Reeves, check out The Harder They Fall. It's definitely worth watching. Zazie Beetz does a good job. So, being that she didn't mess up, she took care of the role. Being that she took care of the role, no, don't say that.
Now, if you want to complain, you could complain about the hair. You could complain about the hair. You could have complained about the hair. That might have been about it.
No, complain about what hair?
Whose hair?
No, I'm saying if they want, Yeah, I'm saying because if you go back and look at the picture of her, I mean, they could have put her into a wig or something else. I mean, so if you got a complaint,
No, for right. Whoa, stop. Because if they would have did that, that would have been falsifying it. Because back then, a lot of black women back then didn't wear wigs. They wore their natural. They didn't even relax. They weren't even relaxing their hair at that point in time.
No, but what I said was if I could see someone complaining about her hair compared to her being in a role, her being in a role is not a complaint. Now maybe her hair with you and your complaint might be.
That's not again. That's not a valid complaint because if you look at women from that time period, she's wearing her hair natural as they did in that time period because either their hair was braided up
they just
or it was styled as some type of style.
Light skin. Yeah, they want to complain about the fact that she's light skin. I mean, it's just it's so annoying. It's so annoying, and I'm sick and tired of that, man. Just let's get rid of that now, man. It's time to stop that garbage. Yeah, let's move on. So anyway, about to end the show. Yeah. Also, I just want to end the show by saying, guess who's back? The Dark Passenger has returned. Dexter is back. And he's doing his thing. The show Dexter has returned to Showtime. The new, I guess this would be like season 9 or something like that. And the first episode has premiered on Showtime, and it was good. I have to say that. I'm going to, without spoiling it, if some people can go, if you are a Dexter fan, go check it out. It's he's back. He is back in full effect. Well, as we know, it takes place after Dexter ended. The season 8 finale of Dexter basically has where Dexter kind of gets away, and he's presumed dead in Miami, and he ends up somewhere way up north. I don't know where the hell he actually is. I forgot where he actually is. Look like he's in Maine or something, somewhere crazy. So now it's been 10 years. Dexter in the show, and damn near 10 years in real life, but it's been almost 10 years in the show, and he hasn't killed. 10 years. He's continued his. He started a new life, started a new path, and it's still in the same vein as the original show. He does no longer sees his father. You remember in the main show, his father would come to him, played by James Reamer. He no longer sees him. He now sees Jennifer Carpenter, who played his sister in the original Dexter, because that was the last person that he, last person that was close to him that he, encountered with or whatever. And now, as if you watch Dexter, she's no longer alive. So now she's in his mind. So she is now in his brain.
Didn't he kill her?
I think it was. He didn't.
I never watched that, but did he? I thought he killed her.
No, he didn't kill her. No, someone else did, but she did get killed. But it wasn't him. No, he never would have killed her. He said I believe in the pilot episode, he said, when he was introducing every character, he made a comment somewhere along the lines of, yeah, Deborah, that she's kind of like my sister, I was raised with her, and she's a good person. If I was capable of love, I think I'd love her. So wow. That was like one of the first things he said, like in the first episode. No, he would have never hurt her, and he didn't. But now she is his because his father always came to him because he has this code, right? The father is the one that taught him, who actually was a cop that adopted him after they found his mother, Dexter's mother, murdered, and Dexter was like 2 years old, covered in blood, because the mother got murdered right in front of him by a serial killer, and he then the cop who investigator found him there, took him in, adopted him, and he realized at a young age Dexter had a bloodlust. He had a bloodthirst. He killed things. He killed animals just to kill them because he had it in him. Might have been from witnessing his um might have been from witnessing his mother getting killed, but he had that. So because he knew that, instead of putting the kid away or doing anything like that, the father decided to give Dexter a code. He said for him to only, if he's going to have to kill, he should only kill bad things. So Dexter then grows up, and using this code that his father instilled in him, he only killed, he became a serial killer that only killed serial killers. So he wouldn't just, it couldn't have been just like, oh, he's a serial killer and then he went and killed you. He had to have proof of your crimes. So he would actually he got a job at the Miami Police Department as a blood splatter specialist and forensics. And he'd do all of the investigating himself on these different serial killers that was running around Florida. And he would find all the evidence, blah blah blah, and then he would do what he would catch his victim, and he does what he's called the kill room. He builds this whole room and completely covered in plastic, everything. He would hit the victim with some like tranquilizer. They'd wake up naked on a table, wrapped in plastic, and the whole room is in plastic, including him. He's in gloves. He was a meticulous killer. And he would have all of their crimes laid out in front of them, pictures of their victims, this, that, and the other. And he would make them confess to the crime. And once they confessed, he killed them and got rid of their bodies. Never to be seen again, and dumped their bodies in the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean somewhere.
Wow.
So he cut them up and dumped them in the Atlantic Ocean. And that was the premise of Dexter. And that went on for 8 seasons, where because he was so meticulous, he never got caught, because people just like, oh, the serial killer went missing or he got killed. No one cares. If you think about it, no one cares about a serial killer getting killed. And that was his way of feeding his bloodthirst. You know what I mean? Because he wanted to. He had to kill. That was he loved to kill, but he wouldn't kill innocent people. So the character James Remar was his father, who's now dead, but he comes to him. He's that second thought in his mind, kind of like if you saw the film Mr. Brooks. But except with Mr. Brooks, he was like the alter ego, or whatever. But it was a great movie. Yeah, I love that movie. And it's just like that. What happens in his mind, he'll have a whole conversation with his father, but it's happening in split seconds. In real time, it's happening in split seconds. But we see a 5-minute conversation with his father. That's all happened in his mind. They have now plucked that out and replaced the father with Jennifer Carpenter's character, who was his last family member that he had close to him at the time. So for the people who may not be versed on the show Dexter, go check it out, watch the show, binge it, and then catch up on it and watch the new season of Dexter. Dexter's a great show. It's a great, very well written character. I mean, you got to be a good writer to make people basically root for a bad guy. He's a serial killer, but we all rooting for him. It's like, oh my God, he's the hero of the story.
You know why? Because we all want to be the bad guy. Look, everybody wants to be Vader. Nobody wants to be Luke. Sorry.
Everybody wants to be Vader.
Don't nobody want to be Luke?
People want to be Han. because Han was cool. He's a cool
I
character.
don't even
So
know
people
about
wanted to be
Han.
Han.
Han was cool.
They wanted to be Han Solo.
But Vader was just. He wanted to be Vader. Sorry, I wanted to be Vader.
I ain't gonna lie. I hate to say it. I
You know,
wanted
choking
to be
people
Lando
out.
because he was black. Lando was a black man in space. I wanted to be Lando.
Right.
So, and he drank Coke 45.
Cool.
Coke 45. So anyway, that's pretty much that. We're gonna leave you with this. People, stop with the colorism. It's not cool. It's not cute. It's not kosher. It's not whatever word you want to call it. The bottom line is this man had a plan. He wanted to write a film, a fictional film about some historical black figures that he studied and knew about. He's done this before. It's not his first rodeo, pun intended. He's done a black cowboy or black western before, and now he wanted to come back. I mean, hey, think about Tombstone. Think about Wyatt Earp. Think about Young Guns. These westerns are star-studded. So he wanted to come back with the same type of formula. He wanted a star-studded film, but he just wanted all the stars to be black. Nothing wrong with that. And now that I broke down to you, and for the people who may just be joining us, you have to go back and look at the archive of this, of the return of this show. I broke down to you why it's not cool or almost insane to be so stuck on this one person's character when all of the people's characters were not 100% accurate, not even close. Some of them not even close. And the fact that these people didn't even know each other, but yet we're watching a movie with them all in it together should tell you that don't take this too crazy, too seriously. Just go and research the people and enjoy that. Be happy. And as my girl said there, appreciate the art.
Exactly.
Appreciate the art. She said, black is beautiful, all shades, period. I agree with you there. That's why I put it up on the screen. Black is beautiful, all shades. Appreciate the win. Black, so many people, not only it wasn't just a black cast, there was black crew. So many people worked on this. So, people got work from it. Let's go with that, man. Let's go with that. And people are going to say it's easy for me to say because I'm one of the light-skinned people, right? I'm one of the light-skinned people. Get out of here, man. I'm tired of that garbage. It's garbage. And if you go through history and go through characters that were actually biopics, you had people. We mentioned a couple, Thurgood Marshall. We mentioned, even Malcolm X. But the characters, the roles were taken care of by the great actors, so no one chose to complain, right? But because it's a woman, it's a light-skinned woman, it just has to be colorism. So I'm just, I'm done with it. And I had to bring that up because it's just been talked about way too much, given too much light and overshadowing the fact of the good stuff about this film. That's why I said half these people that are complaining about that are not even realizing that, the character of, this character right here, Delroy Lindo character was, inspiration for the original inspiration for the Lone Ranger. People miss that.
I did not even never knew that. You told me something I never even knew. That's like, damn, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there you go.
I gotta do some research. So I did not know.
There you go. Do the research on it. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And that only comes from us researching it because I enjoyed the film. So it's like, oh yeah, let me look up these characters for real. It was no way my first thing when I looked up Cherokee Bill, I wasn't like, oh man, he doesn't look nothing like Cherokee Bill. No, come on, man, let's grow up. Everything's not a conspiracy. Everything's not, colorism and this and that ism and that ism. Shit, that's it. I'm done. So next week, we'll continue developing the stories going forward. Next week, we'll talk a little deeper about it, Eternals. Give people time to watch it. We'll get in. We'll dig a little deeper. Thank you for everybody that came to the chat room. Shout out to my girl, Chocolate Padilla, right there. You know what I'm saying? AKA my ace, Ayana. Shout out to you. Makeup artist extraordinaire. She's one, like I said, she understands everything that I said when we talked about crews. Crews are like family on set. We're friends. We're like family. You know what I mean? So she was one of my makeup artists. She was my makeup artist for when we did Playing Dirty. She was the makeup artist for that.
That's right. Hey, what's up, Ayana, with your pretty self?
Right. Exactly. The beautiful Ayana. Like
Wow.
I said, she'll tell you on that set we were all family. We were all family. So it is what it is. Shout out to Jimmy Ace who checked in. Thank you, sir. My boy KB from Block TV checked in. Joseph, of course, always holding down the chat room. Joseph Tanner, thank you so much. And anybody and everybody else who came through, all of the people who watched it, go back. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share. That's the most important. And subscribe to the channel. Like this, share it to your people. I don't care if you shared it already. Share it again to your people. Like it and subscribe to the channel. Thank you again for everybody who joined us.
Like it, share it, subscribe it. Or we gonna come and get you in your dreams, goddammit.
Yeah. So we will always I'm gonna bring you the real regardless. Keep it real because it's real talk, right? And it's real talk. So we're gonna stay on that always. Next week we'll be back with some more.
What the hell?
I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Share.
He's like, skin. like, skin. All right, yeah.
Actually, I was saying like, share. I was not saying like.
I thought you were saying like, skin.
No, I'm saying
it too. I like that.
Get out of here. Peace, everybody. Peace and love. Be safe.
Peace.